Hey, it's Larry Sharp here on the Sharp Way Show. Thank you so much for giving me a couple moments of your evening. It is a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. So yes, you got to look at my mug. That's kind of how it works. I'm happy that we are here together. And I have an interesting show tonight. I know it's been a weekend. You're like, Larry, you've been away all weekend. You've been missing me. I missed you all too. But I am back. I am back today with a very special guest. Someone who I've met before in a couple other events, someone who's been hustling, trying to make stuff happen in his also tough state of California. I know we got it tough here in New York. He got it tough in California too. He is a tech executive. He's an entrepreneur. He's a nonprofit executive director. He's also been in the entertainment industry. He is a former candidate for the great state of California, the man himself, Major Williams. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
No, I'm glad to have you here. And I got to say, I remember when I first talked to you, you have almost like a dual personality in a positive way, in that a part of you is very reserved.
Yeah.
But when you get passionate, you're like a preacher. Am I wrong?
No, for sure. I think my mom kind of identified that very early on. She would agree with you 100% when it comes to that. I've always had to kind of find a certain balance and temperament, and I think that came from me being groomed by a lot of my sports coaches very early on. Because you had to find that balance when you are trying to compete, when you're being competitive. Your emotions could go awry and it could cause you to react in a way that takes you out of the game and hurts yourself and also your team, right? And so very early on, I think I started to develop this character based upon my mentors early on, kind of like guiding me, about the importance of having balance.
Yeah, I can see that in your almost your life philosophy, right? There's a thing that you've mentioned before, is the idea that, falling down is a test. And I think most people see falling down as a failure. Like, oh my God, you're terrible. You fell down. You're a bad person, or, you're not worthy or whatever. But you don't go that route. You're much more of a, all right, now you're down. Now what? Am I reading you wrong?
No, that's the truth, because honestly, those are the moments when you can truly see what you're made of. But also, if you kind of dissect those things when failure does happen, you can kind of either you can take that hit and you can just suffer and deal with it, or you can internalize it, analyze it, and deal with it from the place of, what can I learn from this so I don't have this feeling again, or so I don't fail again, or whatever the case may be. So my grandfather used to always say, that L is not for losing, right? The L is for learning. And if you understand that as a competitor, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a worker, as whatever you are or going to become in this world, you're going to have a better or different perspective on how you pursue your happiness and also your success in this world. And so I've always kind of prided myself, in that particular space. And my wife says it's a lot. She's like, you're the most optimistic, positive person when obstacles come your way. It's because, once more, it's a foundational thing with me, with my faith, and the people that were around me, like my coaches and my grandfather.
So someone already likes your shirt. Shelly says, I like that shirt, Major Williams. So I think you're winning already. So I think you already got my audience. I don't know. You got my audience.
Yeah. I love this shirt. So it's the only superstar is Jesus. It's my clothing brand. So it's the only superstar Jesus. And I look at this kind of like a piece of artwork, because it's subjective. It can mean whatever you believe it means. But what I mean by it is, God is over all, right? I worship God and not man, right? And so a lot of people can take it. And I've heard a lot of different comments since I posted it earlier today, which started a very interesting conversation. But I kind of like to leave a mystery to it and let everyone kind of form their own opinions about what it represents to them.
I like it. But you said your own brand. So is that your brand from the office of Major Williams or something else?
No, this is just a complete brand that I created. And you know, man,
Okay.
I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, and I've created 1,000 different brands, right? And it's one of those things where, you know, you fail, you tweak it. And I think that's from having a marketing background and kind of understanding sometimes you have to, you know, you have to rebrand or re-strategize as well. But just understanding the audience that I was connecting with and my personal close circle, for us, this was fun and refreshing because this is what
Mm.
we truly believe. Like Jesus is the only superstar, you know, and for us that kind of clicked, and we want to see if it'll work universally, especially with the climate of the country, the way that it is right now. We need more of this type of positivity out there in the world. So that's kind of like why I'm playing with this particular brand, if I should say.
But you, so that goes right along because you self-identify as a Christian conservative. Is that correct?
Yes, I do self-identify as a Christian conservative, and my and it's so strange because I didn't grow up in that type of environment in regards to the
And
conservative.
California, I mean, California's not known for its Christian conservatives, right? Not known for it.
No. Well, so initially, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and so my entire
Oh, okay.
family, you know, I've been here
Oh, I
23 over
remember that.
20
Yes, now I
years.
remember that. Okay.
When I say I didn't grow up around that, that's more so what I mean versus my experience out here in
Got it.
California as well. But it's interesting that how that dynamic works, you know. But I don't have any crazy stories like some of my conservative friends have in regards to the infights with their families, whatever. We have our heated debates and conversations, but it's all high fives and hugs still to
Mm.
this day, no matter who I supported or what my beliefs are from a political standpoint, because they realize how to them and us, you know, how silly it is for us to like end our family, you know, relationship based upon the political ideology because we all actually grew up with each other. We know who we are, right? And
Right.
we're
Right.
all seeking to find ourselves on this journey. And we have different chapters and different layers, and we're continuing to grow and evolve. Who knows where we're going to end up, you know, the next, you know, decade or so from now, you know, so that's how we kind of look at it.
Yeah, we forget that too much. I think you're completely right. Now, you bring up the idea how you identify or how you define, I should say, how you define someone who's running for office as a conservative, I'm sorry, a Christian conservative is they want to give you a hand up, not a hand out. How did that
I think
land? Did people get that? Did they not get that? How did that land?
I believe it was received in two different ways, like a lot of things, right? Because we all have different point of views. The reason why I was able to come to that conclusion was based upon my own personal experience on how I grew up, and I always
Mm.
share this story that's attached to it. It all started with assessing or reassessing how I looked at my mother. You know,
Mm.
my mother, when I was younger, she was on welfare for over 20 years. And I remember certain benchmarks in conversation that we had, and she would tell us that the government loved us. They, you know, why? Because they take care of us.
Got it.
How did they take care of us? It was the welfare check. Okay, and what did that prompt? The 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 lack of ambition to connect with my father so he could be in the household, right? And
Right.
so because of that, I had a sense of victim mentality, so to speak. I
Sure.
rarely took accountability for my actions. It was your fault and everybody else's fault why I wasn't successful or succeeded at some point. But then, if I was able to kind of identify those things, um, that's what kind of got me on this mission to
Mm.
share like, genuine knowledge on what it really is about. Because if you are frustrated with your life, Larry, like you do have the power and control to change your outcome.
Yep.
12 years ago, I made that decision. I spent 2 years in the Pasadena Public Library. And one of the
Huh.
main reasons why I
Wow.
did that is because, you know, I hit rock bottom and I was trying to figure out what's next for me at that particular time. And I had somewhat of a luxury to spend every day for 2 years. You can ask my wife, I was bumming it. 2 years going to the public library, just ingesting so much new information, just trying to retrain, re educate myself. So when
Mm.
I emerged from that library, I was a person that was able to walk in any room, have an articulate conversation, add value in any room that I walked into. And fast forward, that's what actually attracted other individuals that got me into politics initially, because I would go to these networking things locally. And when I spoke with different individuals or presented from a marketing standpoint, they were just like, you just deliver that message way differently than I could have. But I understand it so much better because you said it in your unique way, right? And so the theory of a hand up versus a handout is very simple. I don't want you to give me $100 because I'm a grown man. I don't want to come back to you and ask you for $100. I want to be able to say, how did you do that? How did you make that $100? And let me go and copy and paste that formula and do it in my own way. Therefore, I can take care of my kids and my wife and my household, right? And so that's what I mean by a hand up versus a handout. And I think that should be universal, taught to kids, and just something that we should kind of hang our hat on even more so moving forward.
Well, that moves to the next piece, which now you answered my question. I was going to ask you, why does a guy like you punish yourself and run for office, right? I mean, I don't know why you punish yourself like that, but you explained it already, because people saw something in you in a way to communicate, and then said, hey, do us a favor, go ahead and run. And you decided to do that. So, but you also mentioned that, you felt, or you saw the maliciousness of politics. You saw the negative aspects of the parties and the party system and the political machinery and all those things. And I felt it too, right? When I ran in 2018 and again in 2022, I felt it. I felt it. The question I have for you, though, is what did you not believe was true and you now believe is true? You get my question? Like, you didn't think it was true, then you got there and you're like, man, this is true. I didn't think it was true. This is real. Like, was there something that hit you like, oh my God, it's real?
You know what? Let me frame it this way. I've been talented for a very long time. When it comes to sports, when it comes to being a free thinker, to being popular in high school, like I've been that guy for a very long time. So there's elements that I can relate to that were then versus now in the political spectrum as well. One thing that I was aware of when I walked in any particular room, the other candidates were going to shrink. And the reason being, it wasn't because I came in with more money or more background or experience. It was my confidence in my aura and my ability to connect. That has always been universally the case. And so therefore, the byproduct of that is that jealousy, envy, hate, slander, smear, get them, right? And so I didn't know what it would be, but I knew it was going to come. So I was kind of braced for it. Had kind of like a brace for what it was going to come with it as well.
I feel like, and I think I felt similar, and that was, people told me how petty politics was. And I didn't want to believe it, right? Like, I didn't want to accept that as true. But getting in, it is. And you just said it, it's petty, right? It's petty. It's like, I don't want Major Williams around me, right? So, but he might be able to help. I don't care. I don't want him around me. But no, he can help us. He can make things better. No, because he makes me look bad.
Yeah. They're ready to cut their nose off to spite their face. They'll cut their nose off to spite their face. And it doesn't matter. You take someone like the guy, Earl Weber, who ran for office, multiple offices. He's a career loser. He posted my music. I did music back in the day, and I did music videos. And he actually did a political campaign where he prefaces like, how can this guy be your next governor if this is who he is, versus not understanding that the reason why you were able to find that content is because I intentionally left it there because I own it, but I knew it was going to be a great segue and communicator for those that weren't so robotic or conservative. When you're trying to win an actual election, a real election, and running a real campaign, you have to be relatable, and not relatable just to your party, because you don't get elected that way, especially here in California. So basically what the guy did is gave me free promotion, because statistically it put me on people's radar, but statistically it put me in front of people who's like, well, you know what? I did music too. Or maybe glad they didn't have social media when I was in my day, right? But look at where this guy is now. Oh my gosh, look what he's doing now. So it all works hand in hand. It feels kind of crappy at that moment when it's happening because, as you said, it is kind of petty, right?
Yes.
But you get through it. You kind of understand. I'm a big boy. I'm from the projects. I've seen a lot. I've been a part of a lot, and so for me, my skin is a little bit thicker, and I just really don't take it to heart that way. And that's why you didn't see me. Not that you follow me like that, but that's why I wasn't really aggressive about responding online. Like I'm a in real life type of guy, right? Especially from a man perspective. If we see each other, we can address it however at that particular time. But I just wasn't really prepared to be catty, and it kind of backfired on me because it left some things unchecked and unquestioned, and allowed people to assume and run with that assumption, like, oh, well, it must be true because he's not on social media, deflecting or trying to say that's not what it is every single day. So, you live and you learn. We'll find balance with it next time if there is a next time.
So let me grab a couple of comments. Michael asks, he says, Major, who do you consider some leaders of the Black community over the last 10 years besides you? Do you have any leaders you either look to or think about, or do you have any?
Well, so for me, I'm very connected to the coaching culture. So there are a lot of unknown names that are out there that truly mentor and also inspire me. Because the reason why I speak about those individuals, they do the real tangible work. Like they're there when their player's brother just got killed. So they're tangibly there. They're there when the mother doesn't have any food to bring them food or to get them to a pantry. So I deal with like real type of issue. I'm not like online looking at the who's who list of Black leaders. It kind of following what they do and what they or represent, which kudos to them if it's something positive and beneficial. But me personally, I just really stay connected to real life people who do real work. And it may be small and significant on the social media aspect of it, but it's so huge to the individuals that it's affecting at that particular time, right? And so for me, it's a huge coaching circle that I have a group chat with, we connect with. I use my nonprofit to help with some of the events and activities that they're doing as well. So yeah, for me, some of the Black leaders, you probably have never heard of them. So if I say the name, you're like, who?
No. That's the most important one, because those are the leaders who get men to be great, right? That's how you become great, right? Because you have someone who's next to you, who's in your area, who goes, you got this. I know it sucks, but you got this. And sometimes we need that. We don't have that. We fall down. We don't get back up, right? We don't get back up unless someone goes, you got this. Get up, right? I agree completely, 100%. So James is teasing. He says, if the government really loved us, why doesn't the government have a good plan to make our lives better? Well, yeah, they got a plan to keep us in the same spot, but they don't got a plan to make us better.
Well, it's big business keeping us the same. It's big business keeping us dependent. It's big business keeping us divided. It's big business keeping us going at each other. As much distraction. 100%. They're in the business of distraction and maintaining control and also power. And that's one of that is something I've heard of before, but I more so really saw behind the curtains over the last 5 years being politically active, because I've seen so much in that short amount of time. And it's only because I excelled so fast as a political candidate running for governor of California, right? So my conversations with individuals did change and kind of opened my mind, opened my eyes to a whole different inner workings of what was happening. And it's very true. Like they want us to be separate because we are weaker if we're apart versus if we're a united front, we become more powerful instantly and immediately.
100%. So to put that in perspective, you've also decided that you didn't just want to run for office. You wanted to do what you just said yourself, and you created a charity, right? And the charity is Major Kicks for Kids. Is that right?
Yes. So
hold on. For those of you who want to check it out, I'm going to put the post right here if I could. It's a majorkicksforkids.org. For those who want to check it out. If you want to follow what Major's doing, follow him on Twitter at Major Williams CA on Twitter. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
No, so Major Kicks for Kids actually was something I was doing over 15 years ago because I actually used to work in a group home setting for the Everson Mental Health Facility in Van Nuys, California for 3 or 4 years, and also with the Gower Shelter for Kids in Hollywood, right next to the Roscoe's. And so after my time had left there, I had started working really heavily in entertainment. During that time, I had certain successes. As a guy, used to new to a little money, I started buying all these tennis shoes. I had a real big tennis shoe fetish because I didn't have that luxury, when I was growing up, right?
Sure.
And so I just started. I had so many of them. I started like going to different shelters, giving them away. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she would record me like going up to random homeless people and giving them shoes and whatnot. And a few years back, I was doing it, and I posted something on Instagram. And a good friend of mine, who actually is the one who got me into politics, his name is Cole Harris. He ran for lieutenant governor of California back in 2017, 2018. He hit me up. He was like, you know what, you should really form like some kind of, nonprofit or foundation to kind of, do what you're doing. And that was kind of like the beginning of Major Kicks for Kids. So, and I've worked with a lot of different partners. I've worked with companies like, K-Swiss. We've worked with a lot of different elementary schools. And it all started from me just wanting to pay it forward. And I always tell people, this is my pay it forward moment, because I remember the moment, and you don't know if you can relate to this, but I remember how I specifically felt as a kid when I got either a new haircut, a fresh haircut, or a new pair of sneakers, which was rare for me, right? I just feel like I can do anything in the world. I feel clean, fresh, sharp, right? And to be able to kind of figure out how I can bottle that up and just like give that to someone else. That's what I wanted to do.
So hold on. So you don't just do footwear, you also do haircuts.
Yeah, so when I do these events, probably like at a local park, the last big one we did was in Redding, California. Not only did we do, at that particular one, we didn't do shoes, we did gift certificates for the shoes.
Okay.
We don't know the sizes of the kids. We bring the
Right.
gift certificates for the actual shoes. We have, we have different sporting events. We have a couple of barbers who donate their time as well. So we try to do as much as we possibly can. But the foundation of what we do is, give away over 1,000 pair of sneakers every single year to low-income and academically excelling youth. That's the mission statement. But we do try to expand and do more because I'm very passionate about helping the homeless and our veterans as well. So although I do the new shoes and gift cards, I still do donor drives at different gyms across the state who collect the shoes, and I gather those and I distribute those to different organizations and shelters for our homeless community.
Nah, it's great because I do remember as a kid, I grew up. I'm a little bit older than you. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I remember my mom used to cut my hair.
Yeah.
Yes, and when I got older, when I was like a teenager, I got to get my own haircut. I felt like I was a big man. Got my own haircut. Went to the barber shop. Got my own haircut. See, I'm a big man now. So yeah, I completely get that. Yes, and I was a teenager before I got a regular haircut.
Wow.
Teenager before I got a yes. So yeah, I was a big man when I got my haircut.
That's amazing. And I just want to say too, though, just for the record, there are some names that I want to name just to put it out there. Some individuals that were so influential and that I consider Black leaders, and they are kind of like the foundation of what pushed me to this way. One is my high school basketball coach. His name is Robert Allen. There's Lo Andrews and Roger Howard and Philip Teague, who were they worked for the Dallas Housing Authority at that particular time. And I will never forget how they changed my life and my entire trajectory. I was 13 years old. I was playing basketball in the projects. I'm probably cussing, pants sagging, doing what we do in the projects, having a ball or whatever. And they would always come up and engage with us and put us in these different leagues to play in tournaments. One day he came up and said, we want to take you guys to a camp. And they got together a select few of us, and they got permission with my mom, and we went to Denver, Colorado. So the first time leaving, my neighborhood.
That's a big deal for a teenager. It's a big deal.
Huge difference. So we go to Denver, Colorado. We're all the way up in the mountains. It's snow and everything, right? And we go to this facility, and the camp is called FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, right?
Okay, sure.
I'm looking all around as everyone is pulling up in their buses, and me and my buddies, we're like laughing because we're saying to ourselves, we're about to win every single game, right? We just have that mentality. So as soon as we're getting off the bus, and I noticed something that was happening when everyone was exiting the bus. There was a counselor there to greet you, but then they were actually directing you in different places. So I said, this is interesting. So as I got there, I was the first one out of the four or five of us, and she directs me in one direction, and she directs my buddy in another direction. I'm like, whoa, we're together. She said, no, just follow my lead. This is how it works. So I'm frustrated, right?
Yep.
I get into my room. It's a white guy, it's a Latino guy, and it's an Asian guy. So it's like United Nations. And the first thing I can remember calling my mom, I said, we're gonna lose every game. That's the only thing I can think about. But what I will tell you, that experience opened my eyes and changed my life.
Sure.
One of the guys named Sylvester, he was 13. He had a journal, for crying out loud. I didn't know what a journal was. And this kid was basically writing out his life. I thought that was so intriguing. And so when I went back to the hood, I had a journal and had everybody laughing at me, but he gave me a formula to start writing out who I wanted to be, in this world. And so it was a great experience. So shout out to Roger Howard, Philip T, Lo Andrews, and Coach Robert Allen.
Very nice. Sam says, I'm glad to see other people putting their energy into local culture. It really does make a difference. I think Sam's right in the money. It does make a difference, right? It does. But if I could, I want to ask the people here watching and listening, do me a favor. If you're watching or listening to this on Twitter, retweet this. It does matter. Let people know this is happening. Retweet it right now if you could, so that people will see what we're doing, what we're talking about. It does matter, guys. Every little bit counts. So please retweet it. So to go back to what you were talking about, though, for Good Major. So I like that what you were trying to achieve, and that's great. But you ran for office. Didn't work as you wanted it to work, I should say. Didn't work as you wanted it to work. You decided to start something else. I mean, like you got nothing to do. I guess you was bored. So you started to do something else, which is the Office of Major Williams. Tell me what that is. I know that's some goal, some way to keep moving forward, but tell me how that works.
So always, in the creative spirit of figuring out what the next chapter is going to be for myself, I'm always kind of looking at the landscape and trying to see how I could add value or position myself, right? So coming off a political campaign, I wanted to stay politically active. What better way to stay politically active if I create an umbrella that'll allow me to go out, what will kind of legitimize me being political.
Oh, got it.
It also was a troll and a parody of the office of Donald Trump, which is why we do the logo or whatever. So it's kind of like a play on the copy and paste of anything that was relevant, trendy, or successful. And so that was basically what it was. So when I showed up, the Office of Major Williams, it's a real thing. That's my company, right? So if I want to go and do public speaking events, that's under the Office of Major Williams. If there's certain initiatives for different things I want to lobby for as far as legislation, I do that under the operation of the Office of Major Williams because I'm not running an official campaign.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. I love the idea. I got to come up with something like that myself now. Got to figure out how I'm going to do that now. I might copy you. I might do Office of Major Williams, New York branch. That's it. So, no, but I like the idea. What you've done is you've said, all right, this didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go.
And no one needs to vote for me. I voted myself in. I'm the guy.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to keep going, and that's it. I'm the self-proclaimed guy who owns this office. I love that. That's great. But that also allows you to, I guess, to absorb ideas for your other thing you're doing right now, which is it is the Restore California plan. Did I get that right?
Yep. Yeah, and the Restore California plan is a byproduct of kind of the ideology and the solution-based ideals I was sharing during my political journey for governor.
Got it.
It was something similar to what I did when I ran for mayor of Pasadena as well. And so I come up with these ideas formulated by different brainstorming sessions of other people that I trust their opinions on certain things. I actually have 4 big notebooks of policy and also legislation. Wow. So you can be better educated and figure out, because you need to know what the wording is and what the language is, so you can write kind of the alternative version of what it really is, so you can actually have those battled out and have people support that. And that's one of the main reasons why I created at one point, petitions, right? You need to create a base of individuals that are going to champion for your cause, so you get the word out there and whatnot. So that's kind of like what that was about. It was a collection of ideals and solutions. I would call it offerings of solutions, right?
Okay.
On what I would fight for if I got into this particular position in office, right? And then some of the strategies showing you how I would fight for it, although that changes as we go, because I'm sure you've heard this, right? When you're running, some of the first things that voters do, which I think they have to mature past. It's not a knock at voters, but it's what my personal experience is. The first thing that you do when you meet the candidate, okay, what's your policy? Like, what are you standing for, right?
Right.
And that's like the cold conversation, like just straight up in regards to just having a regular, genuine conversation and going back and forth to get to know that individual. Because what I've discovered watching other candidates, watching the ones who have won and the ones that are currently in office, you have to be very careful, because these guys are very seasoned, regurgitating the exact same thing over and over again, and it's what you want to hear. So what are you truly voting for? Are you voting for bullet points, right? Or are you voting for the fact that this person took out of their time to show up in my town with a population of 700 people, 500 miles away from their house, to come and connect with us for 2 days, right? So there's a different type of connection that we have to become more aware of. Because when I used to go to these small towns here in California, people would be so surprised to see a candidate show up to their city or to their town. And, we would joke, it was like, they like want to touch you. And it's not just because I'm Black, right? They want to touch you because they haven't seen anyone champion for their vote or there to hear their voices, their plights or concerns in real life, in real time. And just to share a quick story, we was in one town, Larry, and we pulled up to a gas station, and I actually got out the truck and I went inside, and there was no one inside of the gas station. So I was like, dang, I can't pay for my stuff. So we were getting ready to go speak at another fundraiser. It was probably a block or 2 away from the gas station. So I get back in the truck. One of my guys is pumping the gas, and I see this guy shoot across the parking lot, and he goes into the store. So my mom is like, oh, I think that's the actual worker. And so another one of my people that was with me went inside and said, hey, we were trying to purchase this water. And he told him the story about he ran away to the banquet where we were going to be at real quick to try to meet Major Williams before he goes inside of the place. And ironically, my guy was like, well, he's right out there at the gas pump right now.
You could just go out and go pump number 1 and go say hi. Yep.
So the guy comes out, we share a really cool moment. We take a few selfies. I even let him FaceTime and call his mom or whatever. And it was just like such a genuine moment. And just because of that moment, it was shared all over social media. Like those moments are far few in between when it comes to how candidates truly go out there and try to earn the respect of voters.
Look, guys, if you're watching or listening to this and you like what you're hearing, you like these cool stories that Major's telling us, then do me a favor and click that like button. Click the like button now. You like it? Then click the like button, right? If you don't like it, I don't care. Click it anyway. Click that like button so I can get past all the algorithms. So do it anyway. I don't care. Click the like button. Either way, it doesn't matter. So yes. But no, the part you're bringing up here is the idea of connecting to people, right? And this is why I thought when you were running, you had you have many things you were talking about. But I think some of the things that were important to me that I noticed was focus on the small business owner or entrepreneur and focusing on homelessness. Now, most people will look at that and say, those are 2 completely different things, but I don't see it that way. How I saw it was you have the idea of giving everybody the ownership mindset. Whether you're homeless, whether you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, you got to own your life. You got to own your future. You got to own your business. You got to own your money. You got to own it. Did I misunderstand? That's how I understood it. Am I wrong?
That's true, because when is the last time you had someone in leadership that wanted to create a foundation off of redeveloping the mindset? If we have someone from leadership that's talking about redeveloping our mindset, that's also outlining goals that we can realistically accomplish together, then, like that was the whole point of it. Like, with the homeless situation, one of the ideals and concepts was, if we're going to continue to aid and abet this behavior, so to speak, right? We're spending billions of dollars, wasting money on the use of all different resources. One of the ideals that I got backlash from, a little bit, but then it kind of changed over time, is that, when you're lining up for that bread line, every single day to get those free meals or whatever, there should be a stipulation in place in a facility that brings you in, that can offer you showers and can offer you opportunity to connect to the internet and things of that nature, right? So it has to be a segue of check-in, which is mindset and accountability, right? So when you have leadership that's talking about mindset, accountability, and also seeking to empower people, that's the part about small business and entrepreneurship. California is trying to overtax, overregulate these individuals who are working to figure it out. And every time we do start figuring it out as small business owners and entrepreneurs, there is a new loophole to tax us and to hold us back, which is why there were certain legislations put in place by a majority Democrat legislation to, basically kill the entrepreneur contractor, like AB5 was the,
I know, yes. Yeah, we are doing that here in New York. We're doing it. Yep.
And it's like they can't really understand or comprehend how detrimental that is. But it also shows the non-empathy in seeing other people aspire to be free, control their time, spend time with their family members. Me, I'm a homeschool dad. I hang my hat on that, me and my wife, right? And the reason why we're able to be homeschool parents is because we're willing to struggle with our hustles and our side jobs and our brands and everything else for the sake of building a solid foundation of our sons being able to look back 20 years from now, 10 years from now, and say, man, our parents were always there, right?
You have 3 sons, right?
I have 3 sons. 3 sons,
and you homeschool all 3 of them?
All 3 of them, man. All 3 of them.
Oh,
and, when
I homeschooled my youngest. I only got 2, and I homeschooled my youngest. That was enough. Wow. You did 3. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, 3. Well, the credit goes to my wife, though. My wife is absolutely amazing. And, I give her all the credit. She's actually groomed me into understanding the importance of homeschooling our kids, and also just being vital in their everyday lives, right? We do everything to try to have that freedom to where, even we travel together, now as a family, like more than ever, right? Because we're a unit. But it's been rewarding, and they're the most charismatic, personable kids. They know how to socialize. Like, they're all about that life when it comes to engaging. So they're not missing in any elements when it comes to that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm just saying it's a lot of work. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's a lot of work. So one was enough for me. You got 3. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But anyway, good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
So speaking of schooling and testing, again, if you're listening right now, please do me a favor, support my sponsor, theadvocates.org. Heading over to theadvocates.org, and there's a new survey. So single issue survey called the National Security and Foreign Policy Survey. Look, what's going on in Ukraine right now? What do you think? Well, you can tell people. We need to know that information. Say what you think, right? Let us know. And once you take that survey, and do me a favor, post your results. Post your results on either Facebook or on Twitter, whatever, so that other people can see it and so that they can also take this survey. I want people engaged, because that's how we have conversations on this. And you can be the person to get somebody else to have that conversation. If you want to support this show, you can. Advocates.org is free. This one is a little longer, right? The world's smallest political quiz is only about 2 minutes a minute. This can be about 6 or 7 minutes. But it's okay. You can do it. Help me out. Take it. Share it. Life is good. I appreciate it tremendously. And of course, if you want to follow what Major's doing, Major Williams CA on Twitter. So I had a little bit of business there, Major. I apologize. A little bit of business. That's all.
It's all good. I'm all about business.
So yes, I know you are. Absolutely. So I guess the other piece I want to bring up here is ownership mindset is great. Homeless is great, but you did something that was special, I think. You're saying if someone's going to come in and get a meal or whatever the case may be, that you don't expect them to all of a sudden have a job, but you expect them to begin changing, like, as you said, getting a shower or changing your clothes or reaching out to your family or something. This is something that I've rarely heard. Usually it's just give people the stuff and send them back out into the street. That's option one. Or option two, if I don't see you having a job next week, you can't come back.
Yeah.
And both of those clearly fail.
Right.
But you're saying something different. And the reason why I like it so much is I've had it happen in New York City, and then the city destroys it. We had a mobile trucks that you would go by, and they were mobile showers. So you can come in if you were homeless, you come in, take a shower, change your clothes, right? And the point was, if you're at the point to where you want to go back to your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or your wife or your husband or somebody you love, how are you going to go back? You haven't washed in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You actually have an opportunity to get a job at the local place. How are you going to show up? You smell like you've been on the street for 3 weeks because you've been on the street for 3 weeks, right? How are you going to show up without having clothes? That makes sense to go to a job. So I feel like that was important that people didn't get. Hot meal and a shower makes us able to get back into the world. And that's what the homeless community is missing, that ability or desire to get back into the world. So I just want to bring it up because I get that completely.
Yeah. Well, it all starts with accountability, and accountability isn't it isn't created sometimes based upon your authority. Have accountability, right?
Right.
It doesn't translate that way, right? So what you do and I studied psychology, right? And I study it from how you parent, how you deal with kids, how you deal with students and players, how you deal with adults, co-workers, etc. I've studied all those different things. And that was kind of like the base of why I created that approach, because you have to plant seeds and create structure and create habits and culture. So that's the gateway into them probably seeing themselves better. They probably haven't seen themselves with a haircut or clean in weeks. And it goes back to me remembering the endorphin that I felt like came over me when I got a brand new haircut or a fresh new pair of tennis shoes, right? So statistically, everyone isn't going to do it, right? That's how the laws of average work. But we could decrease homelessness by a really good percentage if we start adding accountability, but not forced accountability, like do this, like, okay, I'm just offering you a shower, right? And I'm offering you, Wi-Fi ability. I'm offering you, we have clothes available for you, right? So, and if you build that type of culture up, it starts to spread, whether they want to believe it or not. You can reprogram the entire homeless community with these type of concepts in place, but they don't want to do that because homelessness is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
People should understand. Homelessness is a business, right? People go to school, they graduate, and they want to go and work in the homeless industry. Why? Because there's billions of dollars available for them. People should have those jobs 5-10 years and then be able to see people come out of those situations thriving, because people should be like, I got laid off because there's no people that need our services. But that doesn't necessarily happen. Of course, I'm exaggerating when it comes to that. But I think if we don't have that foundation of accountability, then we will never get to that point. That's some of the things I talked about very extensively on my campaign trail, and I did realize it's a business and it's hard to fight that.
Yep.
When you have lack of resources and you're being attacked from, every single angle, because you are an outsider, so to speak, and you're a disruptor. And the fact that I did what I did here in California without asking for permission, and I did it with a smartphone and a laptop, it blew people's mind because it's like, whoa, hold on now. You didn't ask for permission to get 100 million followers this fast, right? Like let's dial you back a little bit. I didn't kiss the ring, right? But I enjoyed it. I felt like I was just poking the bear or just thumbing my finger at the hypocrisy of us saying that we're tired of the same type of individuals, Larry, over and over again, running for these offices, and they're producing us no results. And so, if you've ever heard me speak, I've always shared this concept that I would drop out of the race if there was like an electrician or a plumber running for office. And the reason being, it goes back to me understanding good habits and culture, because when a plumber or electrician comes to your house, I know that they're looking or willing to get the job done, because if they don't get the check to go back home and feed their family. So they want to get that job done for you. And politicians and elected officials don't operate in that particular space. They're hired guns, they're hired paper pushers, and that's just the culture of what that is. And so I thought it'd be cool, like former rapper, executive, young looking type of guy coming in fresh, changing the narrative, conservative, but also connect with Democrats, also connect cool with libertarians, independent, play ball with the young kids, do some music for video games, right? Like all these different elements, they couldn't stomach it. They had to find one and say, this is who I am, versus the evolution of the things that I am representative of, and also share my journey in regards to where I'm at today, which was disheartening and sad. And I think we took a huge loss and a step back here in California because of it.
I agree. Christopher says, I got the 70s haircut from Jimmy the Barber on Buffalo's East Side. He still remembers. Yes. So Shelly says, the only candidate for governor I've ever met is Larry Sharpe. Oh, thank you, Shelly. That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. There's a couple education questions, though, coming up here. Michael says, education. The government schools in Florida are a disaster. Michael's from Florida. What kind of job are California schools doing for our kids?
What kind of jobs are California? Say that last part again.
Yeah. What kind of, in other words, how are California schools?
California schools are in a very interesting place, simply because the balance is off. We have an increase of students actually sleeping in their cars that are homeless as well at our institutions as well. And so now it goes beyond the educational aspect of it. And if you kind of couple that with the last 2 years of the increase in drug use, alcoholism, suicide rate amongst our kids as well, the dynamics have drastically changed. Now, typically, I would say our school systems are pretty decent and pretty good from a college level, right? But the high schools and elementary schools, it's in shambles, because what's happening right now is the lack of growth. But when I say growth in the right direction, there's a lot of growth in telling you that you don't have to identify as a gender. Like there's a lot of growth in those particular areas, right? But the growth that I'm talking about is acknowledging that entrepreneurship is a thing. The growth is about acknowledging that we should know more about financial literacy, right? And we should understand how to balance a checkbook, understand the importance of taxes, our credit, how to leverage it, real estate, and how to network and communicate, speech, read, and do basic math. Those are all things that need to be championed here in our schools, but for whatever reason, that's not happening, which is why we have statistical graphs of being at the bottom of the totem pole here in California. And once more, it starts with leadership, right? If leadership is a strong advocate for the change that we all seek here in our state, or a great, collection of us, then you will start to see that kind of seep into the legislation and with these teachers unions and things of that nature. But I just think that everything is so hype. It's all about hyper exposing and over sexualizing our kids. It's taken away from where we truly are. We're in such a magical place right now where these kids have just like the most amazing curiosities and creativity, and a lot of them making more money than me and you doing some of the things that are available for them right now. And the fact that we're not supporting that and like really trying to give them guidance or catch up to them, to have to give them infrastructure to build upon that for themselves, it's a disservice. So we can definitely do better. There's a lot of different foundations and groups that are out there that are separate from the schools that are very helpful with the kids. But I also think, Larry, and you tell me if you agree with this or not, but I think the importance of highlighting the plumber and the electrician and the trade and the barber and the beauty salon and the nail technician should be more prominent, just as a doctor. You know,
100%.
My grandfather and his father before him, they worked like, jobs, like regular tradesman jobs, like welding, and they made a pretty good living, right? And so many people are beholden to these psychological program norms in regards to the path that they should take. They're leaving a variety of industries that could easily help them change their lives, right? And so I would just wish that was highlighted more. And if no one is willing to do it, I'll be a vessel to start doing it even more so through my different platforms.
Do you happen to know King Randall out of Maryland?
I love King Randall.
He's doing it right there. Absolutely. He's doing it. Do you know John McWhorter, the writer out of Columbia? He wrote the book Woke Racism.
I've heard of the book, but I haven't met him yet. I heard of him. Absolutely.
He talks about that too, that we got to start doing the trades. There's a new book called Men and Boys. I've forgotten the author. He talks about it too. You are right. There's so many people who are doing this and talking about it. You are 100% correct. I do the same thing. I say we should end our K through 12 and go K through 10. And the last 2 years is thinking about how do I go to trade schools? Yes.
I love it. There's so much opportunity that exists today in those particular spaces. You look at somebody like King Randall. He actually hit the scene by being on the Roland Martin show at that one time, and you saw that very interesting dynamic of their clash. But what you saw at that particular moment, you saw how a star was born, because not only did he waver, he actually explained himself very specifically, right? And he had an actionable plan. And then to be where we are now and see that he's still working that plan against any and all obstacles, because he knows that it's not about him. It's bigger than him. It truly is about those boys and the foundation and the seeds that he's planted into them. And the reason why I appreciate him so much, because he is a replica of the individuals that were in my life. God, thank you for them individuals that gave me the inkling that, you know what, gang banging and drug selling and sports and that I can do more than just that, right? I can actually go to college. I can actually do something with my life. And so I just really appreciate, guys like that. He's an inspirational young leader, and I wish him nothing but the best. Anyone who haven't heard of him, please go to his page and follow him and support what he's doing, along with Larry and all the work that he's doing as well.
Absolutely. And guys, if you want to help me out, and do me a favor, subscribe to my Sharp Way YouTube page, specifically the Sharp Way YouTube page, right? I know some of you go to different YouTube pages, whatever, but please specifically the Sharp Way YouTube page. I'm trying to grow that page. A lot of you guys in my Larry Sharp stuff. I got like 8 different channels. I know. That's how I get my name out. So help me with this one, right? Help me with this one. The Sharp Way YouTube page. Very helpful. If you could do it, I would really appreciate it. So people are talking about education a lot right now, particularly on my page right now. People are talking about it. I got another comment here. This is Kathy. She says, I remember having shop class and home economics in school. They don't do that anymore. We absolutely need that kind of funds to follow the kids and allow them to go on their own schools. I really think that our communities need to have their own local schools so that we're not carting kids halfway across the city to attend classes.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% for a variety of reasons, right? Especially when we're talking about the money should follow the kids. And that actually ties into what you were saying in supporting the technical schools and the trade schools and things of that nature. They could easily go towards something like that, would instantly put them in a ownership, entrepreneur, small business position to start making money for their lives, versus starting out $80,000 in debt as an adult at 22, 23 years old or whatnot.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's a very important point, and I wholeheartedly co-sign is exactly those same sentiments.
I feel like too many people are still pushing the old idea that the only way to success is college.
Hmm.
And it just isn't true. It has been true for years. There are many paths to success. College is one of them. I'm not against college,
Yeah.
but there are many ways to get ahead. College is only one of them.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I was able to unlock so much myself when I spent that time in the library, and even now today, I'm a very avid reader. My 12-year-old son is an avid reader. My wife is a reader. We're just a house of readers, and just new information. We just so addicted to that because it's so cool. Like, people don't understand how cool it is to be inspired and just live in a place where you're learning something new. And one of the things that I learned, I believe it was John C. Maxwell in one of his books, and he was talking about the foundational things that you need to be successful is one, you need to be able to read, right? And the second thing, you need to be able to write, and you need to be able to know math. Beyond those elements, you need to be able to speak and communicate effectively. If you have those four characteristics alone, you can do anything in this world. You really can. You
No,
can
it's
do
true.
anything. So if you're into sales, if you're a teacher, if you're in marketing, whatever the case may be, if you have those four components as a foundation, you can be successful, right? But I believe that a lot of the psyche of a lot of kids have been attacked, which is why we see so much entitlement that's happening. And then
Yes.
there are these crutches that are put there. There's a lot of coddling. There's a lot of participation trophies out there. There's a lot of
But this goes to what you're talking about, right?
yeah,
The most important piece is being able to get back up,
yeah,
right? That's because if you try to do something to make your life better, you're going to have failures, right? At one point, you're going to fall down, right? Whether it's early or later or multiple, whatever. The question is, are you able to have that resilience to
yeah,
get up? And you're going to try to, I'm going to try to communicate well, and I'm going to
yeah,
mess it all up.
yeah.
Okay, I messed it up. Now what do I do? Do I just go back in my hole and never come out? Or do I try it again? So I think that resilience is a critical piece.
Michael Jordan said he don't remember any game winning shot that he missed because the makes are the only ones the makes are the only ones that matter.
Right.
At the end of the day, right? People remember the makes. All the misses
Right.
prepared you for the makes at the end of the day.
Right.
And you would have never been able to have the will or the confidence when you made it if you didn't have those lessons to go and prepare you for the next shot, for the next opportunity, for that buzzer beater, game winner, or whatever. And that's how universally life works, right? And I think if we have more conversations that are kind of projected out there, and I'm gonna make sure I share this interview a million times because I really want people to hear these types of messages in regards to what it takes to be resilient and what it takes to make those necessary sacrifices to put you in a place in your life where you say that you want to be. I was reading something from what was it? Who was it? Somebody. I think it was Patrick Bet David. He's the
Sure.
owner of PHP, and he said there are three types of individuals. There's three elements that are a part of your life if you are not where you want to be financially in the world. And he said you're either lazy, stupid, or arrogant. Either of those three. The lazy part is the procrastination, just not doing what you're supposed to do. Or you have all this talent in the world and you're squandering it. That makes you, stupid. Or that arrogant, like you don't know that you need work. You don't know that you need to check
Right.
yourself, right? And I've been victim to that as well too. And it's such a beautiful thing for me to be able to profess those words and let people hear me say that I've been at that arrogant place as well. And God has humbled me, and I've been able to gain so much clarity, strength, and focus from that, from those moments of being humbled because of my arrogance, right? And so I'm a walking testimony based upon my own personal experience, and being able to share that with other individuals. I just hope that they can gravitate towards that if they're at that moment and use that to kind of push them out of their own way and out of their comfort zones.
Yeah, I was on his podcast, PBD podcast. So
Yeah,
I
I
like him. He's
remember
great.
that. I remember that. Yeah, I was on there as well too. It's a really good friend
It
of
was
mine. Good guy.
absolutely. He's totally savvy. But the point that I like you brought up is for you to be successful, there's got to be a level of humility,
Yeah.
right? A level of that. Understanding that no matter how smart you are, you're not that smart. There's
Yeah.
something's going to happen. What's the old saying? Man plans, God laughs.
Yes.
Right. Right. So it's true. Right. And myself, years ago when the 2008 crash came, I got devastated. And I was devastated not because I was smart or dumb or any of that, but because I thought it couldn't affect me. Because I was arrogant. Like you said, I thought, no. I'm smarter than the rest of them. Right. I'm going to have the answer. This can't affect me.
Yeah.
And that's why I collapsed so badly. It wasn't because I was dumb or because I was lazy. I was arrogant. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
I don't know everything.
Same here. I don't know everything. I'm right there with you. And you know, life has a way of kind of giving you that check. You know, and God will humble you. But I will say that I'm so appreciative for the moments that I've fallen. I'm so appreciative for those moments where I can say, man, I was truly humbled at that particular moment. Because as I said, just to reiterate, the strength, the clarity, and the focus that I was able to gain from it. And now the thing about it is a lot of people aren't in a place to kind of receive it that way. And I've been on that end as well too. You know, I just kept trying to force, like, no, this is who I am, or this is who I'm supposed to be. I'm great, you know, I know it all. But until you truly acknowledge that, you know, you'll never be able to break through that barrier. And that comes around being around the right people and just really being rooted in your faith.
And I got to tell you, what you're saying, I felt exactly the same way. When my business was collapsing in 2009, I didn't want to see it. So I didn't. Even though everybody else saw it. But I didn't see it because I didn't want to see it.
The building is burning. No, it's not burning. It's just
everything's fine. Yeah. But no, and I took such a heavy hit because I wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
Right? If I would have listened, I still would have taken a hit, but nowhere near as bad.
Yeah.
Me not, and I got to tell you, to your point, I didn't like it when I failed. I hated it. But now I look back with pride. Like I tell anybody that story. I'm proud now because I was humbled, because now I'm different. Now I don't think I'm always the smartest guy in the room anymore. Now I also have respect for other people who fall down because I fell down too.
Right.
So I also have respect for that. But before I was like, oh, they fall down. Yeah, whatever. No, I fell too. So I know how that feels. I'm with you. I agree completely.
No, big time. You know, I agree with that 100%.
So let me ask you, Major, is there anything that I didn't bring up that you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
So, you know, my involvement with sharing monetize is something that I did.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And
let me prep this if I could. This part is actually what got me to want to reach out to you.
Okay.
Because I was wondering why you have experience in the entertainment industry and the tech industry. And then somehow you decided that this is the way you wanted to kind of merge those in a way. So help me to understand monetize. It's MONYTIZE, correct?
Yes.
MONYT. For someone who's listening, MONYTIZE. Why monetize?
So there is a story that's attached to it, and it made sense to why I'm pushing this particular model so much. As a gubernatorial candidate, I had the honor and privilege to be in the house of many people, to sit with many small business owners. And what became very, what I began to realize is that a lot of people agree that California is very expensive to live in. The cost of living is very high. We're dealing with inflation. We're dealing with taxes, high taxes, over restrictions, over regulations, things of that nature. People getting hit really hard in their pockets, especially at that time. And no different than when I ran for mayor of Pasadena, I tried to figure out what kind of way can I offer a monetary solution that people could tap into, right? And that's when I came up with the idea of the Pasadena Fund when I was running for mayor of Pasadena, which never materialized. It was only an ideal in theory. But the reason why I was attracted to really providing the resource of monetize to people. And let me break it down to you. Monetize is basically the Uber of the entertainment industry.
I remember you said that. Yes.
We've all heard of Uber before, and we know how disruptive it was to the transportation industry. And the only thing that they did, they took something that was already existing, which is you, the user, and your car, and they gave you a platform that you could digitally, plug into, and you can start earning revenue for yourself. And based upon your financial goals and ambition, that could be $100 a day, or that could be $1,000 a day. It just depends upon your will to go out there and hustle. So the concept of monetize is very like and similar from the fact that we've created a platform that's never been created before that you yourself can tap into from a social place. So you can go and post just like on your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok, or whatever the case may be. You can be social. But there's also a component within it where, especially as if we partner with Netflix, iTunes, Amazon, GameStop, Hulu, and we put it all in one. So instead of having all these different subscriptions from different, vendors or whatnot, why not have it with monetize in addition to a better price with more movies and also music? We also give a cash back incentive. And it's an invite-only platform. It's free to join. So now I've given you a tool where you can go out and share your link. And because you share your link, you can make revenue just like a Discover Cashback card. So every single month, you're going to see residuals come back to your account. And it's basically a digital wallet. So you have a 4-digit PIN where you can actually go in your back office and see the people that are in your network and also see in real time the transactions, whether someone is renting a movie.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Streaming the music. So for the first time ever, all of us have access to make money off a Taylor Swift album or a Tom Cruise movie, right?
Like that.
Everyone can actually tap into it at this particular time. And so that's why I really got excited about it. So beyond that, I created Monetize Business. Monetize Business is me showing people the strategies that can help you reach your financial goals. So for the ones who say, I want to take this and make this a part-time, full-time, or replace my job, that's me coming in and giving you the true strategies on how you can make that $1,000 or $100,000 a month. And I always do it from a low-level perspective. Like, if you want to make an extra $500, this would be great for extra gas, groceries for the families. But there are going to be some entrepreneurs out there that truly get this model and concept, and they already have a huge following already. They're like, man, I can get 1,000 subscribers. I can get 10,000 subscribers. Well, that 10,000 subscribers is going to have you making a good $4,000 a month, possibly. And they're going to get it. And you're not selling anything. That's what I love about it. You're not selling anything. They already have these subscriptions already. You're just saying, hey, you should just get it in here, and you get a cash back on what you pay on your own subscription. And if you invite so many people, you never even pay your subscription. That's just how it works. It's a great concept.
I like it. And that's why you picked it. Yes. But no, I was wondering, it's like, it's entertainment, which is why I was thinking, the entertainment industry, that's why you picked it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Awesome. So guys, Monetize, it's at Monetize on Twitter, correct?
Monetize app.
Hold on, let me put that in. Monetize app. Hold on. So it is, you get it right here. It is Monetize app on Twitter. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Here we go. So guys, if you want to follow Major, please check him out on Twitter, Major Williams CA. Also, if you want to check out his nonprofit, majorkicksforkids.org. Major, I want to say thank you so much for coming out today. I appreciate it.
Man, thank you so much for having this really great conversation. And like I said, I will most definitely share. And if there's anything that I could, help with the things that you're doing in the future as well, please let me know. We definitely want to have you on Monetize as well. So you can have a profile. We can get you verified as well. You don't have to have 1 million followers to get a blue check. I know the guy.
There we go. It's even easier. That's great, guys. Everyone else, thank you so much for watching today and listening. If you're listening on a podcast, I will see you all